Rain fell outside, slow and steady. The city lights blinked like tired eyes. Inside a small dark office, a human man sat alone. His name was Detective Roland. He had gray in his beard, tired lines on his face, and pain in his eyes. The kind of pain only unsolved murders leave behind. He stared at the screen again. The same video, again and again. A man walking into a room. Then silence. Then a flash of red light. The man was dead. No sound, no weapon, no answers. 3 days. Roland muttered. Still nothing. He looked down at the crime report. Victim, Dr. Malix Thorne. Age, 46. Job, military tech expert. Cause of death, unknown. But that wasn't the strange part. The strange part was this. No smell at the crime scene, not one. No blood smell, no sweat, no chemical scent. Just air, dead, cold air. That's when he whispered, "Call her." She walked into his office 1 hour. Later, she was small, barely 5 feet tall. Her skin had a soft blue glow. Her eyes were large and silver. Her nose was not human. It was long, thin, and moved slightly when she breathed. Her name was Kira. She belonged to a species called the Nolari, aliens known for their super smell. They could track a single drop of blood in a city. They could smell lies. Some even said they could smell danger. Roland stood up. "Thank you for coming." Kira didn't smile. She rarely did. Her voice was soft. "You said the air was empty?" He nodded. "Not even a burnt wire smell." She tilted her head. "Show me the room." Crime scene was cold. The lights above flickered. The body was gone, but the room had not been touched since. Kira stepped inside slowly. Her nose twitched. She sniffed the air once, twice, 3 times. Then she froze. "What is it?" Roland asked. She turned her head toward him, her eyes wide. Someone was here. Someone not from this world. Roland stepped closer. "What do you mean?" Kira knelt on the floor. Her nose almost touched the ground. She sniffed again. "This smell, it's like burned silk and crushed metal. I've only smelled it once before." She stood up slowly. "On the battlefield. 10 years ago. A weapon used by an outlaw species, called the Drelkai." Roland frowned. "But the Drelkai were wiped out." "Not all of them," she whispered. Then she sniffed toward the door, and froze again. Her voice dropped lower. "Someone was here. After the murder." Roland looked around. "Another witness?" Kira shook her head. "No. A cleaner. Someone tried to erase the smells. They used something strong, something illegal." Back at Roland's office, Kira sat still. Her eyes closed. She was thinking, or maybe sniffing the air from memory. Roland paced. "Why kill Malix Thorne?" Kira opened her eyes. "He worked on scent-blocking tech, dangerous tech, the kind that hides soldiers from my people." Roland stared at her. "You think someone wanted it? Or wanted it destroyed?" she said. Then she sniffed the air again, and her face changed. "What is it?" Roland asked. She stood up fast. Her nose twitched wildly. "I smelled something else, something that doesn't belong." She turned toward the wall. "Something followed me here." Roland grabbed his gun. "Now?" "Yes," she whispered. "It's watching us." Then suddenly, crash. The window shattered. A black shape moved fast across the wall and vanished into the night. Roland rushed to the window, gun up. Nothing. Kira stepped beside him, her nose twitching. "It wasn't human," she said. "What was it?" he asked. She looked at him. It smelled wrong, like something stitched together from different beings. It didn't belong. Roland's voice was low. "And it followed." "You?" Kira nodded slowly. "They know I'm helping you, and now They know where I am. Roland sat back down. His voice was heavy. This case is bigger than I thought. Kira's eyes stayed on the broken window. They don't want the truth to come out, she said. They want all traces of it. Gone. But you smelled it, Roland said. Kira nodded. And now that I've smelled it, I can't forget it. Roland looked at her. You're in danger. She gave a small nod. So are you. The rain kept falling outside. But now, Roland knew. This was no normal murder. It was something else, something that didn't smell right. The lights were off in the small guest room. Kira lay still on the bed. Her large silver eyes stared at the ceiling. Her nose twitched every few seconds. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She was waiting. She could smell it. Something was coming. Not outside, inside the vents. The soft metal above her head made a click, then a scratch. Very slow, very careful. Almost like it didn't want her to hear it, but she didn't need ears. She had her nose, and the smell told her something terrible. It wasn't human. And it wasn't just watching. It was hunting. Earlier that night, Detective Roland had taken her to a small apartment above his office. You'll be safe here, he had said. Just rest. Tomorrow we hunt. Kira had nodded, but her nose was already picking up something strange. The walls smelled like old dust, but hidden under that dust something else, a scent like rotting copper and wet fur and something dead but moving. Roland hadn't smelled it, but she had. She didn't tell him. Not yet. Back in the room, the scratching sound stopped. Kira's nose twitched again. Then, a new smell. Hot oil, burnt plastic, and hunger. Her eyes narrowed. Suddenly, she rolled off the bed and dropped low to the floor. Thump. Something heavy hit the bed right where she had been lying. The mattress caved in. Metal claws tore through the sheets. Kira didn't scream. She reached into her boot and pulled out a small knife. It was curved and smooth, made from a crystal only her people used. It was silent when it cut. The creature on the bed growled softly. Then it turned. It had no eyes. Only a metal mask. Its body was covered in wires and patches of skin that didn't match. One arm was longer than the other. One leg dragged as it stepped. Kira didn't move. She waited. She sniffed again. That smell. It wasn't alone. There was another one. Watching. Waiting. In the hallway. Downstairs, Roland was drinking stale coffee when he heard it. Thud. He stood up fast. Pulled his gun. Kira? No answer. He ran up the stairs, gun raised. When he kicked the door open, smoke, the room smelled like burning hair. He saw the bed torn open, the window smashed again, and Kira crouched in the corner, blood on her arm but fire in her eyes. Roland rushed to her. What the hell happened? Kira stood slowly. They sent a scout, maybe two. It knew I was here. Did you kill it? She looked out the broken window. No. It left when it heard you coming. It wasn't ready. It wanted to study me first. Why? She turned to him. Because I can smell its secrets. Roland patched up her arm while she explained. These things aren't full aliens, she said. They're built, grown, pieces of different species stitched together. Some parts are human. Roland froze. You're saying humans are involved? She nodded. Not just involved, leading it. She closed her eyes. I smelled a military scent, one used only in special ops. It was on the skin. That's not possible, Roland said, but Kira's voice was calm. It is. Someone from inside your government is using alien tech. To kill. To erase. To hide. Later that night, Kira stood at the window, nose twitching softly. Roland sat nearby, cleaning his gun. Why didn't it kill you? He asked. Kira stared into the dark. Because it didn't need to. Not yet. What does that mean? She turned to him. It only kills those who know too much, and now, that's both of us. The air smelled like bread, warm, fresh, too perfect. Kira hated it, because no room ever smelled this clean, not even hospitals. And in her world, when something smells perfect, it means something is hiding, something dangerous. They were sitting in a quiet office 5 floors above the street. The man across from them wore a dark suit. His name was Mr. Orvin. He was tall, polite, and smiled a little too much. "I hear you're asking questions about Dr. Malik's Thorn," he said. Roland nodded. "We just want to understand who might have wanted him dead." Orvin leaned back in his chair. He had no enemies, not one. Everyone liked him. Kira stared at the man without blinking. Her nose didn't move. That's when she felt cold inside. No sweat, no breath, no heartbeat, and no scent. She whispered to Roland, "This man, he smells like nothing." Roland frowned. "Maybe he wears scent blockers?" Kira shook her head slightly. "No. Even blockers leave a trace. But this man has nothing. Not even skin scent. It's like he isn't here." She leaned forward. "Mr. Orvin, do you live here in this office?" He smiled. "No, I stay nearby." She nodded slowly. "Alone?" "Yes." She sniffed lightly. Still nothing. Not his chair, not his hands, not the room around him. It was as if he had never touched anything in his life. Then she noticed something strange. The cup of coffee in front of him, it had steam but no smell. Kira stood up. "Thank you for your time," she said. Orvin stood too. "Of course, if you have more questions." "We will," Roland said. They walked out slowly. As soon as the door closed, Kira grabbed Roland's arm. "He's not real." Roland looked shocked. "What?" She pointed to her nose. "No scent, no trace, no life." "You think he's a robot?" "No," she said. "Worse, he's a puppet, a body made to look human. But inside there's something else, something hiding." They got into the elevator. The lights inside flickered once. Then the elevator stopped. No sound, no buttons working. Kira sniffed fast. Gas. Roland looked up. "Poison." "Not poison," she said. "Memory. Fog." They both covered their mouths with sleeves. Roland pulled open the emergency hatch. Kira climbed up first. Above them, in the elevator shaft, someone was crawling, a man, with no face, just smooth, fake skin, and no scent. They climbed fast. The faceless man followed. Kira turned to Roland. "Keep going." She pulled out her crystal knife and swung it. It cut the air like lightning. The faceless man didn't bleed, but he hissed, loud and strange, like metal burning. Then he leapt away into the dark. Kira breathed hard. Her nose twitched wildly. "That was the same thing from the vents," she said. Roland coughed. "So they follow us now?" "They follow me," she said. "They want me confused, scared. My nose is their enemy." Back on the street, they walked fast through the rain. Roland asked, "How do you fight something that has no scent?" Kira didn't answer for a moment. Then she said softly, "I don't. I follow what it tries to hide." Roland stopped walking. "What does that mean?" She turned to him. Something left its mark in Orvin's office, not scent, but something burned, something old. She took out a small scanner. Her people didn't trust machines, but this one scanned heat and particles left in air. Kira showed him the screen. A chemical tag. "Military signature," she whispered. "Only used in old Earth wars. This scent, this tag, I've only ever smelled it on one man." "Who?" Kira looked up at him. "Dr. Malik's Thorn." It hit her nose before the pain hit her body. A sharp scent, like old metal rusted in blood mixed with burnt oil and fear. Then her knees gave out. Kira fell, hard, onto the lab floor. Her vision blurred. Her skin burned. Her breath came short. She tried to speak but couldn't. Something was inside the air. Something made for her. A trap. 1 hour earlier, Kira and Roland stood in front of a locked door. It was hidden under a metal junkyard, far outside. The city. "Are you sure about this place?" Roland asked. Kira nodded. "I smelled it 2 nights ago, this scent. Burnt plasma and dead flowers. Someone's been making scent-blocking tech here." Roland unlocked the door. It creaked open slowly. Darkness inside. No sounds. No lights. Just the cold breath of something forgotten. They stepped inside, and the door closed behind them. The lab was full of broken machines. Wires hung from the ceiling, like vines. Glass tanks lined the walls, most cracked, some with red liquid dried at the bottom. Kira's nose twitched. She stopped walking. "There's blood here," she said. "From who?" Roland asked. She walked to one of the tanks, touched the glass, then sniffed. "Mixed species," she whispered. "Human, Drelkai, Nolari. Someone was experimenting here, making something new." Roland's face went pale. "Hybrids?" "Yes," she said, "and I think they tested it on themselves." Then she touched a small device on the table. It blinked once and hissed. Gas sprayed into the room. She tried to run, but her legs turned soft. Her nose burned. Her mind became fog. Then everything went black. When she woke up, she was alone. The lab lights flickered, and a voice spoke from the dark. "You should not have come here." Kira tried to sit up, but her arms were heavy. Then she saw him. Detective Roland, standing in the shadows. But he looked different. His jacket was gone. His eyes didn't blink. And his scent was wrong. "Smelled like rust and lies." "You lied to me," she whispered. He stepped forward. "I didn't want to, but they made me watch you." She blinked hard. "So you work for them?" He looked sad. "I used to. Not anymore." "Then why did you bring me here?" she asked. "To protect you," he said. "But they knew I'd break. They were watching both of us." Kira's heart beat faster. "Who are they?" He didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a wall and pressed a button. A screen lit up, and she saw herself, entering the city, standing at the crime scene, sitting in Roland's office. "They've been watching me since day one," she said. He nodded. "They fear your kind, your nose. You can find what they bury." Kira stood slowly, her balance weak, but her nose still worked. And now, she smelled something new. Behind the wall, hidden, fresh blood. She moved fast, surprising even Roland. She slammed into the wall. It cracked open, revealing a hidden chamber. Inside, something floated in green fluid. A body, thin, pale. Still, it was the real Detective Roland. The man behind her spoke quietly. "I had to take his place. They said it was the only way, but I didn't kill him. I swear it." Kira turned around slowly, her eyes cold, her nose sharp. "You may wear his skin," she said, "but your scent is rotten. You are not him." She couldn't smell anything. Nothing. No sweat, no blood, not even the air. Kira sat on the cold floor, frozen. Her chest moved fast, her eyes wide. It was worse than fear. It was like being blind. Something was wrong with her. Very wrong. Her sense of smell, her most powerful gift, was gone. She sniffed again. Nothing. She licked the air, touched her nose, scratched at her cheeks. Still nothing. It was like her nose had died. And that meant she was helpless. The fake Roland was gone, vanished into the dark after she discovered the real Roland's body floating in the green tank. Now Kira stood alone in the ruined lab. Lights flickered above. Wires hissed. Somewhere in the walls, machines whispered lies. Then a voice came from the ceiling speakers, not loud, not cruel, but soft, almost kind. "We didn't want to hurt you, Kira. We only wanted to test you." She looked up. "Your gift is rare. Too dangerous to leave free. You could sniff out every secret we buried. So we took your nose, just for a while. Kira closed her eyes. Her world had always been built on smells. Now it was blank. She had to think like a human. She had to see what others saw, not what she smelled. So she looked around. She saw blood on the floor, scratches on the walls, a single shoe under a broken chair. Then her hand touched something wet. She brought it to her lips. It was sweet. Too sweet. Then she realized, this wasn't real. None of it was. Suddenly the room melted, the lab walls bent, the floor cracked open, and she was no longer in the lab. She stood in a forest. Trees, grass, flowers, a perfect day. Too perfect, a trap, a dream. A scent world built to trick her. She looked up and shouted, "This isn't real! Let me out!" A voice whispered behind her, "You're already out, this is your mind now." She turned and saw someone standing in the trees, small, blue-skinned, large silver eyes. It was her, but younger. A child. The child walked up to her, spoke softly. "You can't trust your nose anymore. You smelled lies. You chased ghosts. But now you smell nothing, because they gave you something new. A different scent." Kira stepped back. "What do you mean? They injected you with false scent. It replaces smells with fake ones. You won't know what's real anymore." Kira opened her eyes. She was back in the lab, but her skin was shaking, her mind spinning. She sniffed. Now, she smelled something, but she didn't know if it was real. The blood on the floor smelled like cinnamon. The burning wires smelled like honey. Everything was wrong. Then she heard a bang. A door opened. A figure stepped in. The real Roland, wet, pale, weak, but alive. Kira ran to him. He looked at her. "Kira?" he asked. "Is it really you?" She sniffed. He smelled like bread? No. She couldn't trust her nose anymore, but she could trust her heart. She nodded. "It's me." He fell into her arms and whispered, "We don't have much time. They're making more of them, more copies, some of you." The smell hit her like a scream. It wasn't blood, it wasn't metal, it was herself. Kira froze. She smelled her own scent, exactly the same, but coming from somewhere else in the room, behind her. She turned around slowly and saw herself, standing just a few feet away. Same silver eyes, same blue skin, same twitching nose. But this one was smiling, and that smile wasn't hers. Roland gripped her arm. "What is that?" Kira's voice was a whisper. "It's me." He stared. "What do you mean it's you?" She shook her head. "No, it's wearing me." The fake Kira stepped forward. Its voice was soft but wrong, like metal trying to sound like silk. "We scanned you, copied your scent, your voice, your thoughts. You were never the hunter. You were the bait." Kira pulled her crystal knife. The fake laughed. "That won't work. I'm you, but newer, faster, and I smell your fear." Kira didn't wait. She ran forward, knife raised, but her hands passed through the fake like smoke. A hologram, a message. Kira breathed hard. "Why show me this?" The fake Kira's voice turned cold. "Because the real enemy is already moving, and you're still trapped here, smelling lies." Suddenly the lab walls shook. Lights turned red. Roland shouted, "They're coming." Kira turned to him. "We need to find the original files. The scent map. If we destroy it, they can't make more copies." Roland pulled a small memory stick from his pocket. "This. Malix hid it in the tank before they killed him." Kira stared at him. "You remembered?" He nodded. "Barely. They tried to wipe my memory, but I locked one scent in my mind, your cinnamon tea." They ran through the hallway. Sparks flew from the walls. Behind them, Metal footsteps, not one pair, many, dozens of scentless hybrids, all wearing skin that wasn't theirs. Some walked like humans, some crawled like insects, all silent. But Kira didn't need sound. She sniffed the air and knew something important. "They're not chasing us," she said. Roland looked confused. "What?" "They're surrounding us." They burst into the server room, rows of machines. And in the center, a glowing pod. Inside it floated something horrible. A creature with no face, no skin, no scent. It wasn't done growing, but it was learning. Its brain was connected to every scent Kira ever made. It was building new versions of her, ones that couldn't be tricked, ones that smelled lies and created them too. Roland raised his gun. "We destroy this right now." Kira held up a hand. "Wait." She stepped close to the pod, sniffed deeply, then smiled. "This one made a mistake," she said. "It used real memories, but it doesn't know how to mix them right." She grabbed a cable and shoved it into her scanner. The pod blinked, started shaking. "Warning, scent code error, identity split, error." The pod began to melt. Alarms screamed, gas hissed, fire burst from the floor. Kira and Roland ran as the lab exploded behind them. They didn't look back. Not once. Outside, they breathed the cold night air. Kira sniffed. It smelled real. For now. But then she looked at Roland and her eyes narrowed. He smelled like her tea. Too fresh. Too perfect. And just like that, she whispered, "You're not him." She didn't want to believe it, but her nose never lied. Not until now. Kira stepped back from the man beside her. He looked like Roland, sounded like Roland. But the scent, it was too perfect. No fear, no sweat, no pain. Just warm cinnamon tea, the for memory he said he kept to protect her. And that's when she knew. The real Roland was still missing. The fake Roland smiled. "I was close, wasn't I? You almost trusted me." Kira didn't speak. She stared at him and whispered, "Where is he?" The fake tilted his head. "Somewhere dark, somewhere deep. But he's still alive. For now." He reached into his coat, slow, calm, and pulled out a small remote. "I press this." And his breathing stops. Kira didn't move. Her knife was still at her side, but her mind was racing. She couldn't trust her nose anymore, not after the lab, but there was one thing she could trust. Something older than scent. Instinct. She watched his eyes, his fingers, his breath. Then, like lightning, she lunged forward. Not with the knife, but with her bare hand, grabbing his wrist. The fake tried to react. Too late. She jammed the crystal knife into the device in his hand. Crack! Sparks flew. The remote shattered. The fake screamed a strange robotic howl as his skin began to melt. Underneath she saw what he really was. Wires, fake muscle, and a brain half-grown in a tank. He wasn't just a copy. He was a prototype. One of the first hybrid spies, built to learn her, built to replace her. Kira stepped over the twitching body and followed the only scent that was real. Hope. Beneath the destroyed lab, she found the tunnel. Long, cold, silent. But in the air, faint and flickering, was something she'd never forget. Roland's true scent. Dust, gunpowder, burnt coffee, fear and loyalty. She followed it deep underground. There, in a locked room, she found him, chained, weak, but breathing. His face lit up when he saw her. "Kira?" She knelt beside him. "It's me. How do I know?" She smiled, took his hand and whispered, "Because you don't smell like cinnamon tea." They escaped together. The lab collapsed behind them, swallowed by fire and lies. Weeks later, in a quiet field far from the city, Kira stood beside a metal box. Inside it, the last memory stick, the last scent map. Roland asked, "You sure you want to destroy it?" She nodded. They'll build again if we don't end it here. He handed her the torch. She dropped the stick into the fire, watched it burn, then closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The wind smelled like real earth, wet leaves, cold stars, and truth. As they walked away, Roland said, "What will you do now?" Kira looked at the sky and whispered, "Smell the future."